Welcome to Feast TV Plus on FTSN. I'm your host, Sammy, along with my co-host, the controversial Eddie Chapo. Today, burn it down, Eddie Chapo, man. Eddie, welcome back to Feast TV Plus on FTSN.
Hey, Sammy, how you doing?
Well, been better. As a Dolphins fan, been for sure been better. I wish it was 2023, but it's not. So that's the reality we're facing as Dolphins fans. That we, as every Thursday, I want to start recapping what was the week it was, the game it was last week, because that game, uh, it was a kind of weird game. The stadium was basically surprisingly full, considering that the low expectation, the tickets are low, so that might have something to
Yeah,
do with it. But you saw the game, you saw what happened. The Dolphins trailing, find a way to take the lead, and the kickoff goes wrong because they basically move it very close to the midfield, if you ask me, and then in just one play the Chargers find a way to score the field goal. So I want to know your thoughts about the game was before everything against the Chargers last week.
well, even though I predicted last week, I think 41-17 or something,
Mm-hmm.
I actually picked them in our Pick'em League, the Dolphins, because I really thought they were going to play well enough to win. But you're right. It started with the kickoff, poor special teams coverage. I mean, I don't know how the kick was or not, but he got out to what, the 41, 42-yard line?
Yeah, something like that, yes.
And
Very
then
much.
Jalen Phillips, he couldn't wrap up anybody the past 2 years. Somebody said on X that he's a hitter with warning track power. He can get there, but he can't knock it out of the park.
I think I thought that's pretty good. I call him a term in Spanish. My daughter is a huge Jalen Phillips fan, but I call him a term in Spanish that means it's casi casi. So it's almost but not quite. You're
Yes.
almost there, and every single time it's casi casi because he almost gets the sacks, he almost gets the fumble. He's almost there,
Yeah.
but not quite. This time he was there, which is ironic, but he could not wrap up. So
No.
Herbert. I understand Herbert is a big guy, but
But
he was there.
Look at the week before. They had no trouble knocking him down. How many times did he get sacked the week before? It was a lot.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, I mean, everybody's mad at Trader, but he's a rookie. The kid, McConkey's a decent receiver. He juked him out. Of course, nobody else was there to make a tackle. If they were, it would have been inbounds. And, oh, well, it's always something. That's why if you look at my screen behind me,
you have
you see
a
what that
composition
is?
over it. Yes.
Them are all 4 games that they were ahead, 3 of them, tied in the Buffalo game with 10 minutes or less in the game. They could have won every one of them games. This one they roughed the punter. This one they let the Panthers score a touchdown. They couldn't even just hold them to a field goal. They find ways to mess up every week.
No, they're finding new ways to lose every single week. It's ironic. They're running out of ways to lose. So basically, they have to find a way to win because
we'll find a new way. I don't know what it is. I've been trying to think about it, but there's not much more they can do to lose games.
I don't know what to tell you. After the game, another week, another 2-hour press conference.
Oh,
what can I?
brutal.
I love the guy. I defended him. I still try to do my best. Not to be a true apologist.
No.
Because I just can't be, and he's basically running out of time here if he doesn't do something quick, because this season is going to the crapper. If they start training people and players and rumors about water and stuff, he's going to have even less weapons to work with. So it's not going to get any better for him. But every single week, as soon as I said he had a press conference, he made a statement and said, hopefully it was a written statement, because every time
I saw that and I was right there with you. I was like, please don't have him open his mouth again.
I thought that what he said, the apology, because I don't think an apology actually was warranted, because those who need it, those who should get it, basically don't need it, and those that most people are not gonna believe you. So by that time, giving an apology is not gonna serve anything. But I think it was sincere. He did what he should have done from the beginning. He should have acknowledged, I'm the quarterback of this team, I'm the leader of this team. It's on me, and start throwing people stop throwing people under the bus. What are your thoughts about the press conference, Eddie?
Well, if he's got a captain. He's got a C on that chest of his. That's
Sir.
something you do behind the scenes. You go up there in the press conference, you take full responsibility as a quarterback, is what he should do. And not that he doesn't. I saw people saying he never takes responsibility. That's bullcrap. He does.
He's done it before.
He always takes responsibility.
And when he did, they complained that he took everything. Now they complain that he doesn't do it. So
what he did was stupid. He should have said it to the person, whoever it was, because like Jordan Brooks said, everybody in our defensive meetings, they've been there on time. So, and people are getting it wrong on players only meeting. These are just player only meetings to go over the game plan. They're not player only meetings like everybody said they are.
That's the problem. People misunderstood that, and that's basically what the problem is.
So yeah, I just go up there, give the basic response. Who was it? Marshawn Lynch that used to do that. I'm just here because I have to be. Just say something like that and just stay out of it. I mean, it looks like you're trying to stop getting blame. I understand it. It isn't all him, but just come on, Tua, be quiet. That's all.
That's what we asked for, because every single week, from the other week that he said, I'm half of the player that Josh Allen is. If you have the play, bro, take half of the contract, take half of the salary. Because
he also said, "What do I care if I throw 5 interceptions? I get to go home,
play with my kids."
I understand that, but that's not something you say in front of fans. It's just not.
Of all the things he said, the one that should have made me mad probably was the Josh Allen thing, but that's the one who astonished me, because that gives a perception that basically I got paid and I don't care.
Right. That's how it made me feel too.
And that's the song that was playing after the Dolphins made the second touchdown. They would take the lead. I don't care. That I was. All I could think was, I'm not sure this is the best.
No, that was not a good song.
Granted that the Dolphins' music on games has improved dramatically for the last couple of years. I thought it was better. The music this game was much better. But having said that, I don't care. Probably it's not the best song to play with after throwing the touchdown.
That's bad.
But it is frustrating, because I defended Tua. Like, again, I'm not a Tua apologist. I don't think he needs one. And everything started when the market's in the market and show me the money. And after that, a huge part of the fan base that was with him stopped saying, I'm not so sure, because that rubbed a lot of people wrong. Not me, but a lot of people wrong. So it is what it is now. Like how we talk so many times, Eddie, when you're winning, nobody cares.
Everything's good. Yeah.
Everything's good. Everything's happy. You're dancing. You're having a party at the game. Everything's fine and dandy. When you start losing, like the Dolphins have been losing, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. And I basically think that what he said on last Sunday in that press conference, the one who's hurt this time was Matt McDaniel, because Matt McDaniel looks like a chump. After
that comment, yes, that's who it hurt the most.
Well, our guest is here. I want to introduce our guest, because we're going to talk about the disappointment that's been basically right now those great draft picks the Dolphins have. So I want to talk to our guest, Josh Wingate. Let me put our guest over here. And here he is. Josh, welcome to Fins TV Plus on FTSN.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. Good being here. Good meeting you guys. Excited.
Awesome. Come here, man.
Josh, at the beginning, during training camp, a lot of people were happy and satisfied about the Dolphins draft picks. They look very good in training camp. They say, well, Chris Greer might not be the greatest GM of all time. But that's not what they said. They said much worse things. But you know what I mean? But at least I think he got the picks right. But when you look at, they got an opportunity. But Kenneth Grant, and Savanea was supposed to be the top of the basically. Other with Chop Robinson in recent years, those guys are supposed to be the ones who anchor this team for the years to come. Grant, you're the expert here on draft stuff, and Eddie's very knowledgeable. But I always had the opinion that defensive tackles take us a long time to develop. Not year one, some in year two. By year three, you might know what you have. you have a history during the years, even with Christian Wilkins didn't look like, so many people call him a bust by year 2, and then by year 3 he exploded. But I want your thoughts about those two draft picks the Dolphins have, Savanea. We'll start with Savanea and Grant. What are your opinions about why they're, we're thrown to the water, but they're thinking fast, if you ask me.
Yeah. So with Kenneth Grant, love the pick. Obviously, I was on their draft day when they took Kenneth Grant. Super excited for the Dolphins because I'm wearing a Dallas Cowboys, but my wife is a Dolphins fan. So they're
Awesome.
the second team that I follow as well. So like Kenneth Grant going there, I thought it was a great pick. And too, like you were saying about players coming into the league as rookies and needing time to develop. That is especially true when you're a run stopper because you're adjusting to the strength of the game and all of that. So I feel like as a run stopper, you have to adjust. You have to be able to control the point of attack, push these big guys away. Kenneth Grant is going through that. And Kenneth Grant isn't someone that you're going to expect to rush the passer too much, especially in a 3-4 defense. He's going to try and control that line of scrimmage and free up the spots for Jalen Phillips and a Bradley Chubb and a Chop Robinson. So that's that. And then as well, it's also starting to make me think that something's going on with this scheme because how is Zach Sealer having a bad day? Like Zach Sealer is one of the top defensive linemen in the league. And he's struggling this year. So I'm starting to think something's going on with the scheme of this defense and something's not right. So that's my thought on Kenneth Grant. Savanea, I remember I didn't watch him officially before the draft last year, but Vogel that we do it with, Bobby that we do the scouting with, they both absolutely loved that kid. So after they took him, I put the film on and he was just someone that constantly controlled the point of attack. He was able to move his guys. He's not the fastest guy, but he's a big body guy that can actually move someone. And that was desperately what the Miami Dolphins needed. And I really think him and Patrick Paul are going to really solidify that left side of that offensive line, which was something that the Dolphins needed so bad. That was the biggest fear of mine going into this season was how is this offensive line going to stack up? You really are expecting a lot out of Patrick Paul, who I think is starting to become that we're seeing the future with Patrick Paul. Savanea at left guard, he's starting to solidify that left side. So now we just got to slowly work down the line a little bit to then get that future. And I mean, I'm not a Tua apologist either. So building the offensive line so that future quarterback that comes in is going to be in a good situation and be able to have time to develop and not just be trying to protect himself against an offensive line.
Absolutely. Eddie, I want to know your thoughts because, last year, Chop Robinson, who's not playing great this year, and Patrick Paul, the first and second round pick, made a huge impact. But this year, I don't know what's wrong with Kenneth Grant. I don't know what might be wrong with Savanea. I'm gonna ask you a little bit more about Josh, about Savanea in a few minutes. But I want your thoughts. Why do you think there's a problem? Why do you think they're throwing through the water and they're not swimming like Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul did last year?
I'm completely with Josh on the scheme of the defense. I don't know if they're trying to cover up the deficiency of the back end by not rushing people or making guys do too much. I'm not sure. I mean, actually, the back end of the defense has been better than I thought it could be with Rasul Douglas, Jack Jones, Bonner. That's, Rasul's actually played pretty decent back there. But yes. Kenneth Grant's a rookie, and defensive tackles, I've always said it, they usually struggle their first year. Like Josh said, there's no way Sealer went from what he was the past few years to this year. There has to be something going on with the defensive play calling or the leadership on that defense. I'm not sure. I mean, the linebackers were 1 and 2 in the league in tackles, but none of them are tackles for loss. I mean, they might have 1 or 2 for tackles for loss. Willie Gay has more tackles for loss than the 2 starting middle linebackers, and he's played like six plays. on the defense. But Grant, he'll get it over time. I'm not sure what it is with him yet, but even Phillips, who looked like a superstar in the preseason, I mean, he's been absent, but I think he's a 5th or a 6th round pick, so you can't expect what they expected. They should have signed a veteran to take some of the pressure off of a rookie coming in there. That's my thought.
Absolutely.
They should have paid Calais Campbell to play one more year in Miami.
That's the first thing. If I'm not, as knowledgeable about draft picks as Josh is here, or who's here already, or so many others like George on Fins Fables who did, and Jason Sarney, who take time to to see the drafts and stuff. And even I know the defensive tackles take time to develop. I know that. Why would they not resign someone like Calais Campbell or another advocate, defensive tackle to support the team while that guy develops? So they went with 3 potential good players in defensive tackle, but they're going to take some time to develop, and now they're paying the consequences. They're on a historic pace to be one of the worst defensive squads in the history of the NFL stopping the run. That's absurdity.
Yeah. So to that, I think what I would say is I feel like this team already understands that they're going to go through a little bit of a rebuild.
Yes.
And the best way to develop players is to just let them play. So I think that's why you're seeing a Kenneth Grant out there. You're seeing a Jordan Phillips out there, who is a 5th round pick. I think they're trying to get their young guys out there, see what they have, and then they can then decide, okay, well, we're pretty solid. I think you guys are going to be pretty solid against the defensive line in the future. What do we have on the linebacker situation? Obviously, Jordan Brooks is one of the better linebackers right now in the NFL. But what do we have we have Chop Robinson. Are we going to re-sign Jalen Phillips? I think you're going through a little bit of that because ultimately they need to see what they're going to build around to when they finally get their next quarterback. I think, and I don't want to turn this into a conversation because I know that can quickly happen on a Dolphins podcast. But I think we're going to see another year of Tua just because of how the contract works out, which will then give them another opportunity to have another draft, another free agency to come in. Well, another 2 drafts because you'll have the next one. And then the following year, you'll be able to move on from Tua. And then that next draft will be somewhere where we're looking at the future of the quarterback in Miami.
Absolutely. Since we talk quarterbacks, I now have to, basically do it because Quinn Ewers, there was a guy that a couple of years ago was supposed to be at least a 1st round pick. You probably do some study of him. You probably do some research on him. First of all, why do you think he fell? Is he really just a gem that fell to the Dolphins in the 7th round, or you basically the fans are calling so? Thanks to Star Edwards, let's do it. Let's find what we have here. Yeah, it might be to a huge disappointment if he actually gets into the field at some point during the season.
Yeah, I just looking at Tua, looking at Quinn Ewers, I don't see much of a difference as a player, honestly. Like lack of arm strength, pretty accurate as quarterbacks, smaller guys. It's really just going to come down to can Quinn eventually process the defense better than Tua, and that's obviously the biggest issue that Tua has, other than his lack of arm strength, is being able to process a defense. I just don't know if that's true because Quinn as well had a really good team in Texas, and then he just doesn't do anything with that. He was surrounded by a ton of NFL talent on that team. And they just never went anywhere. Those teams, Bijan Robinson, I could probably name off a couple of the receivers, but he had 2 or 3 receivers that went to the NFL. He was surrounded by talent, but the talent never did anything. And if you have a great quarterback at the college level, you can do a lot with that, and especially with the talent that they have. And I just didn't see it with him. I always go when I look at a quarterback, what did they do? And who is the current quarterback? My mind is slipping.
Manning?
Well, the starting quarterback in Cleveland right now.
Oh, Josh Brown. No, Flacco now?
No, so
no,
it's
they traded him to Cincinnati.
It was last year's
Dylan
quarterback. Yep. Dylan Gabriel. Great regular season quarterback, goes into playoffs and he just falls apart. Immediately as soon as he fell apart, that is not a quarterback I want, because under pressure, he doesn't do anything well. I kind of look at the same scenario with Quinn Ewers. When he got into big games, he fell apart, and I'm a little worried about that scenario with Quinn at the next level.
Yeah, I believe Quinn had Xavier Worthy, right? Also,
yeah, he had Xavier. He had a ton of receivers.
Them were good receivers.
Is the arm strength there? I see so many people say, the arm strength is not there. That's why, he fell. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think he has the arm strength to, or it's basically comparable to Tua, who so many times we mock or, criticize because the arm strength is not the one we probably had at Alabama?
Yeah, and arm strength, I think, is a pretty big deal when it comes into it. You have to be able to get the ball. You have to be able to make all the throws in the NFL.
Yes.
I was a part of it was a webinar with Kurt Warner, and the number one takeaway from that was Kurt Warner said every quarterback can make all the throws if they're in the pocket. That's not a big deal. It's what do you do outside of the pocket, off platform. And I think that's where Tua struggles. I think that's where Quinn Ewers struggles, is that off platform throw. The ones that Patrick Mahomes excels at, Josh Allen excels at. It's when everything breaks down. It's what do you do with the ball after that? And I think the arm strength is the issue behind that, because that's when they start to float the ball up there and the defense is able to break on it and make easier plays.
We have a comment here I want you guys to touch on it. He says, "Hi, fellas. What are your thoughts on this trade? The Giants get Jalen Waddle, the Dolphins get Kayvon Thibodeaux, and a second-round pick. That seems like a lot for Jalen Waddle, but you
can wish. You can wish with one hand.
Yep. See which one fills up.
I mean, Thibodeaux is going, like, they have like a plethora of pass rushers there at the Giants. So they might be willing to move on from him, but I don't know if they're looking at a Jalen Waddle who has underperformed. And because what was he, the 6th or 7th round pick? I can't remember.
6 was it, Eddie? I think it was 6 or 5th or 6th.
He was a high draft. He was my top he was my top receiver in that year's draft. Love Jalen Waddle coming out. He could move on a dime. He had the speed. Like, coming out of Alabama, he was amazing. So he's just, in my opinion, underperformed. He has the ability to do it. His hands are not the greatest. And you didn't see that at Alabama, but I just don't know the Giants with their current situation at receiver. They're going to say, hey, let's give up a 2nd round pick, Thibodeaux and Kayvon in that scenario.
Actually, if the Dolphins could, I'm not in favor of trading Jalen Waddle, but that would be very tempting. I don't think that will happen.
Oh, they should jump on that if they.
Yes.
You might have to give up the 2nd round pick in Jalen Waddle to get just Thibodeaux in that scenario.
Yes, because the Dolphins. My frustration with Waddle is basically that the Dolphins gave out 2 first-round picks for Jalen Waddle because they moved back right with the Eagles, right, Eddie? And then they needed to move back. They traded for 3 first-round picks. They had to move back in. So basically,
the one they spent to move in, they moved to 6 to get them. And if they would have stayed at 3, they could have took Jamar Chase or I believe who else was that?
Penei Sewell.
The tackle.
Sewell. I want a Penei Sewell on that draft.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, that's a lot. That would be the dream scenario for the Dolphins. I don't think that they will get that. Hopefully, who knows? We could criticize Chris Greer all we want, but as he doesn't lose trades very often. He usually wins the trade.
I don't know about that.
I think he's good at getting picks for players. He just doesn't know how to use the picks.
His evaluation of talent is not the greatest, and I know he has a team behind him. But you go after
that we agree with. Yes,
the value that he gave up for Bradley Chubb is just obnoxious. Like, you don't go after a often injury prone player, give up the amount that you gave up for him, and then say, I'm 100% going to win that deal. Like, it's like, I feel like he gave up similar to what the Cowboys got back for Micah Parsons.
Yes.
So
And Micah Parsons a little bit better.
yeah, like not as injured. Um, like he might be a head case, but he's a elite talent. And Bradley Chubb has massively underperformed of what he gave up for it, and that's constantly what he is doing. He overdrafts players. He overpays for players when it comes to. I feel like if he does go out and get a big name, he sells on that. The one takeaway I can say for something that he's done and hasn't lost in that trade was the cornerback that he got, forgetting his name, that he traded for. Big name cornerback.
Ramsey?
Yeah, he got Patrick Ramsey. I feel like Patrick Ramsey performed as needed, but he obviously wanted out.
And then when he traded, everybody says he's gonna have to give a lot for them to take the contract, and he actually found a way to trade for Minka Patrick, who I think basically the Dolphins was equally in that trade. Maybe they didn't win the trade, but so that's a good example. Okay, Ollie Gordon the second. A lot of Dolphins fans during the preseason were saying, we got a stud here. That guy was supposed to be high draft pick last season. Last draft, he stayed in school, and the Dolphins end up getting him in the 6th round. So I want to know your thoughts, because Ollie Gordon during the preseason looked really, really good. At times he looks really, really well, but he's not getting the ball because the one A-Chain is basically, the Dolphins are so desperate for big play A-Chain to break a tackle or get a touchdown that they're not giving the ball. If you ask me, that's my opinion. They're not giving the ball enough to Ollie Gordon. What are your thoughts about Ollie Gordon, Josh?
No, I think it like in the draft process, it was like you could have been in one or two beliefs of Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon has lost it after his injury because the 24 season, he just didn't look as explosive. He looked a little bit slower, went down on first contact. Things like that were starting to happen in the 24 season. The year prior, you saw a completely different player, someone that was breaking tackles, powerful, more explosive. So it's really what were you going to get in Ollie Gordon this season? And I think we're starting to see that 23 season player where he's explosive. He's the power that this running back room desperately needs. I mean, Jalen Wright can be powerful, but I feel like Ollie Gordon is just a different kind of explosive power. And I think it's valuable to this running back room. And I think they're overusing A-Chain. A-Chain needs to be this. He's a great running back. I don't think you don't get the value out of him of being a full-time running back. It's when he splits it with an Ollie Gordon and the defense is getting pounded, they're getting tired. And then you have this player like A-Chain that comes in and you have that explosion, it catches them off guard. And that's when you get these big plays from A-Chain. I don't think, and you saw this a lot with, and I'm going to go back to the Dallas Cowboys. Saw this a lot with the Dallas Cowboys when they had their two-headed monster. Pollard was in there. And when Pollard wasn't used as much, he was getting about 10, 12 carries a game. You saw those explosive plays. But then when he got up to that like 20, 22 carries a game, that's when you start to see it dial it down. So I think it needs to be kind of, Ollie Gordon needs to lead the way, kind of maybe get 13 carries a game. A-Chain gets 12, and it can crisscross however you want it, but you need to limit how much A-Chain does so that explosion takes the defense off where they're at.
Eddie, any thoughts about that?
Oh, absolutely. What I was thinking, pounding the defense with Ollie Gordon in the first couple quarters and then throwing A-Chain. There's nothing wrong with putting both guys in there in the backfield at the same time either. And putting A-Chain out wide. I mean, and you can even have him come in motion and hand him the ball that way around the side. But they're using him way too much in the center gaps, man. He's not a big guy at all.
The wall.
Yeah, he bangs the wall. When he's outside, he can make some huge plays. But Ollie Gordon got his conversion rate on. He hasn't even had that many chances, but his conversion rate on third and I think a fourth down is pretty darn good for 1 yard. He's always going forward. You need to pound, and then you can put the speed in.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I see with the A-Chain is like they're so desperate to get the big play. They're gonna keep pounding to see if you can break the big play and get the huge touchdown, like it happened on Sunday against the Chargers. They got basically a 40 yards something touchdown run because that's what they try to do. But I would expect the Dolphins find a way to have Ollie Gordon and H in the same backfield, or like you said, but basically said that run Ollie Gordon, get that defensive line tired, and then use a speed back who can run aside like Devon H. There have been rumors today. Just I want to get your opinion on this. There have been rumors today about the Dolphins, the Seattle Seahawks being interested in Devon H. A player that those got as a third rounder. I would not trade it for the world, but what comes to your mind? What the opinion will be for you? The value that a third round pick like Devon Nation was a year ago. What would be his value right now after all he's done?
I mean, I don't value running backs too high. So like
the league doesn't either. So you're right on that.
Yeah, I think if you get immediately you draft a running back in the third round, if they don't become a superstar in the NFL, I think they lose value automatically. I don't know, because you could easily go into the draft and find a third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And I'm not going to say easily, but you can go in there and spend a lesser pick and get someone newer, someone that you develop yourself that hasn't been somewhere else and been taught this when you teach this. I don't know if I value running backs as high as some people around the NFL. So, I mean, I'm just shocked that I missed news where Seattle is struggling at running back, or did someone get hurt? Because Kenneth Walker is a pretty good running back. Why would they want A-Chain?
Yeah, sometimes it's rumor, sometimes innuendo. I gotta tell you, but it will be weird. Anybody your thoughts about the supposed trade that the rumor that the Seahawks are interested in going to go the former third round pick? I would not trade him for the war, but what are your thoughts?
Oh, I'd trade him as long as they got something decent for him.
Yeah, if they got the same value.
If they
what's decent? What's decent for you? What would you trade him for?
Third round pick.
Okay, you will get equal value.
I mean, look at I'm not going to get his first name right, but the kid that was drafted in Washington, Merritt, Korsky. Look how good he is. What was he, a 6th round pick, 7th round pick? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what happened, why he fell. I don't think he was used a lot, or he had some problems in college. I'm not sure, but you can find running backs. If you could get a third for him, go ahead. And I'm not sending Jalen Waddle to Buffalo. I'll send him anywhere else, but I'm not sending him to Buffalo.
Not to New England, not to Buffalo, not even to that team in New York. That sucks. No.
Oh, that would
no.
Not unless you got Garrett Wilson back.
Yeah, do you think he's going to require a large contract to keep him? Like, I think he's going to be signed as like a potential second round or a number 2 receiver.
He got an extension last year, so I don't think he's going to do that.
That doesn't mean anything, Sammy.
That's true. Well,
not anymore.
Not in Miami, but he goes somewhere else. Probably gonna have to do something. Before. Josh, I know we talked before the lobby. I know you see the whole league, so I wanted you to stay a little bit and join us. So we talk a little bit about the game is going to be against the Browns this Sunday.
Yeah,
or let me put this way. Give me a second.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. I had to.
We lost you. Where's Josh?
No, but I gotta get him. I'll get him. I got him. I have to do this here. Come on.
It's not a way to treat your guests, Sammy.
Oh, for sure. No, it's not. But I had to find a way to fix this now. That's what happens when you use the platform you use every single week to do your show. Here we are. Okay, so the Dolphins 1-5 start, the Browns 1-5. It's been said that basically the one who loses this game is gonna get fired. I don't think that's the case for sure. I don't think that's gonna happen. I've been on record saying but then it's not gonna be fired. But the Browns, they have a lot of talent on defense, but if you have I say in training camp, if you have 5 quarterbacks, you don't have no quarterback, and they basically were down to the 3rd quarterback right now. It is what it is. I want to know your thoughts before going to Josh. Eddie, what are your thoughts on the game against the Browns on Sunday?
Oh, mine?
Yes, sir.
With that weather, I don't know. I don't care who the Browns have at running back. They're going to be able to run the football on Miami. And if the winds are 30 miles an hour and it's rainy and they give it to HN up the middle, Tua's not going to be able to throw in that weather. So I don't have a good feeling. I'm going to go with what Kim Bocamper said today. We look at all these teams we should beat as bad teams, like the Colts. Throw them out. They're actually one of the best teams in the NFL right now. New England is playing better now. But the Panthers, the Jets, barely beat them. We are the bad team now. That's why we're 2.5-point underdogs in Cleveland. Everybody looks at us and says, oh, here comes the bad team. We should win this. And I don't think that's any different in Cleveland.
Absolutely. Josh, the Browns have a long history of losing because, but the Dolphins have, if you think about it, the Dolphins, the last 25 years have a long history of losing too. So, what are your thoughts? Because they're starting Gabriel this week. I want to know your thoughts first of all about the quarterback of the Browns, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier.
Yes.
I don't like him. I think he's, again, another mold of a Tua type player. Underwhelming arm strength, accurate player, folds under pressure. He's undersized, so I think we're going to see injuries come his way, unfortunately. I never want to see a player get injured, but you're going to see that. And the one thing that Tua is starting to do that Gabriel doesn't do, he doesn't throw the ball deep. It's a lot of underneath stuff. So if your defense plays and attacks forward, I think you're going to stop this passing attack very easily. So I don't see Gabriel as a weapon. I mean, and I'm not the biggest Sanders person out there. I think he has room to develop, and I think they're doing the right thing with him of allowing him to sit and learn before they throw him out there because there's a lot of expectation for him. But I think it's kind of like you're not really doing anything until you put Sanders out there because he gives you at least a better opportunity with his arm strength and his ability to run.
That was going to be my next question. That why you think they're starting Gabriel or Sanders? You basically asked it. Do you think that's the reason why they're being careful? They don't want to start. Of course, Deion Sanders had a lot of influence in the media, and that's a completely different problem. If you start too early and he fails, now the pressure is really on. Why do you think that? You think that's the reason they're trying to protect him, Josh?
Yeah, I think the psyche of a quarterback is like a psyche of a kicker. You get into a quarterback's head, and we'll go to baseball. Unfortunately, I'm a Phillies fan and my team lost, but you get into the head of a pitcher, you get in the head of a quarterback, a kicker, like it's going to ruin them. And I think while Sanders has been in that spotlight for a long time, you put him out there and he underperforms, you're going to get the hate that quarterback that's highly touted, like a Cooper, or not Cooper Manning, but a Manning out there that underperforms, and the entire world is saying that he stinks, and that plays a lot on them. And then you get a player like Sanders, who his dad is who he is. He's boisterous. He's on Twitch, all of this, and he's in the spotlight. So it's going to get to him. And I think they're trying to protect him against himself, and allowing them to develop him, making sure he's right, and then throwing him out there when it's a good situation, essentially.
Absolutely. Eddie, I have never seen a fall like Shedeur Sanders in last year's draft because, he was supposed to, at some point, first overall pick, and he keeps falling and falling and falling. Even the Dolphins said that they even consider him. That would have been something the Dolphins did. But, the Dolphins, facing now a rookie quarterback on Sunday against the Browns, but they have their own problems because the running attack with the Browns is not so bad, and the running defense is putrid. What are your thoughts about the matchup that could be the Browns running against the Dolphins run defense?
Well, as much as we complain about McDaniel, how do you have your quarterback throw rookie quarterback 53 times, 58 times, and he averaged 4.3 yards per pass attempt or completion? So,
wow.
Well, like Josh said, all you got to do is keep everybody up near the line because I don't think he can throw it deep.
No.
I know he started at UCF, then he got hurt, and I think he was in college a long time. I think he folds under pressure. So hopefully, I don't want to see Sanders because I think he'd run all over Miami. So hopefully they just keep him in and they can do what they can do to, hopefully get pressure on him and maybe, actually grab the guy and put him on the ground and not just kind of miss him.
This could be a matchup for the ages, but you see how they compare the Dolphins with a 26th round offense and the Browns with a 27th round offense. On passing offense, the Dolphins 21st, the Browns 26th. So, even with two water, we would have to rig for a while. They could not get the passing game going. The rushing offense, 27th for the Dolphins, 28th for the Browns. The scoring offense, the worst scoring offense in the NFL for the Browns, the Dolphins 18th. On defense, that's where the meat is. That the Browns the third total defense in the NFL. When you have Myles Garrett, that's huge. And the Dolphins third on the historic pace on defense, on rushing defense, 20th on passing defense, 7th for the Browns. The worst defensive running defense in the NFL at 168.5 yards per game. Number 3 for the Browns. Sacks, very comparable. The takeaways, the Browns are very down, and the giveaways too. But that defense, well, you have Myles Garrett, that guy. The Dolphins may get a spatula because if Myles Garrett gets to Tua, we might be bye Tua for the rest of the season because Myles Garrett is one of my favorite players in the league. That guy,
he's underperformed this year though.
Wow.
Yeah, but what does always happen? The
guy I know. Everybody
against the Dolphins, and the one who performs against the Dolphins. So,
yes. It's like every kicker that's bad kicks good against Miami.
Yeah, he's never made a 55-yard field goal. What's going to happen? He's going to get that field goal. Josh, the Browns, again, one of the worst offenses in the NFL. The defense is one of the best. The Dolphins are middle of the packet everywhere. Where do you see this matchup going? What do you think is going to happen on Sunday? If you can give your opinion.
Yeah, if you put it on paper, I don't see how Miami doesn't win the game. But the big thing is, obviously, the game isn't played on paper. And if you're looking at the paper here, you're looking at a heavy defensive advantage to the Browns. And then it's just the same all the way around. The one thing that I will say is this game is going to come down to that giveaway. The Dolphins like to give the ball away. Tua loves to hand the ball over to the defense. But we see that the Browns don't like to take the ball away. And then we see that the Dolphins, they like to take it away a little bit more, and the Browns like to give it away a little more, especially with an inexperienced quarterback. We could see a little bit more takeaways there. So I think it's really, and I feel like every game Miami has played almost has came down to those giveaways, a fumble,
yes,
interception, multiple interceptions. So it's really going to come down to those giveaways because a lot of games that the Dolphins have played have been so close that it really does come down to that. I think we're going to see the same here. If Tua can do what he did a couple seasons ago and just protect the football finally, I think Dolphins are going to start winning again. But if he can't do that and what does he have? 8 picks already this season. It's not going to be a fun season for Miami.
So before I go to you, you're already saying, well, prediction, you can see, the injury list a little bit, wider for the Dolphins, but everything basically, mostly everybody is, Aaron Brewer keeps limited, and Darren Water is limited, but everyone else is full, so it is what it is. It's not that huge when you think about it. So, Eddie, at the end of the day, the Dolphins need this win. We have Josh here. This might have huge rough implications because the tiebreaker could be decided by this game. Who knows? Who do you think it wins on Sunday,
Eddie? This is going to be one of the ugliest games of the year, I think. I'm surprised this isn't a Monday or a Thursday night game the way they've had it the past couple seasons. I don't know. I think it's going to be low scoring. Could go either way. Maybe a tie.
Oh, beautiful. Do you think it's gonna? I think it's gonna be low scoring, but I don't. Again, until the Dolphins find a way to stop the run, no matter how bad the other team is, you can't control the ball. You can't control the game. So un- until they can find a way to stop those huge games, because it's not that the teams you keep bleeding out. Good evening, Bobby. You keep bleeding out. It's the huge runs. It's the 20-yard runs, the 30-yard runs, even more. So it's a back breaker every time you think you have to contain, and they get the huge run. You cannot stop the clock. They control the game. You're not on offense. So until the Dolphins find a way to stop the run, I don't think they win. I don't think they win on Sunday until they show they can do that. Do you agree with that, Eddie? Do you think I'm right about that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask Josh about Judkins,
Yes,
what his
please.
thoughts were on that, on him, the running back.
Yeah, I like Judkins coming out. I haven't really paid attention to him in the NFL this year, but Judkins coming out, he was a good, powerful running back, had speed to him. But yeah, I haven't really paid attention to him too much. But I think a rainy game, you're gonna have to rely on those running backs. You're gonna have to rely on Judkins, and their running back from last year, which was Ford. You're gonna have to rely on those two, and I think the Dolphins finally need to come out and say, "Hey, we have this powerful running back. We have a defense that is great against the run. We can't just put A-Chain in there. We have to get Ollie Gordon in here, and we have to mix it up a little bit. It's going to have to happen, especially in a rainy day game."
That's completely 100% correct. Eddie, you said it before that the wind gust is supposed to be huge, and it reminds me of that game where Tua was to Tennessee and the wind gust was very bad, and Tua looked awful. I saw a comment on the chat. I had to look it up because he was lo-fi anime. It says, if Tua can throw because of the weather, we're gonna get blown out. And he said that. It reminded me of that game where I think it was yelled out by Flores at the turn of the game. That was a horrible loss for the Dolphins.
Yeah, he's going to have to throw behind the line of scrimmage like they do anyways. So,
but I will say, I think the Dolphins are going to have the better opportunity for a passing game because again, lesser arm strength, but to his experience, he can get the ball out. He knows how to handle heavy wind games.
The president, the CEO of Finstock Sports Network is here with us. He has a question for Josh. We have to do it. So if the Dolphins get a top 5 pick, here wishful thinking, who's your way too early option? Ruben Blaine, QB, or offensive line?
First of all, we got to tell Bobby he can't show up and ask questions. He can't be late and asking questions. But I think my way too early player is probably going to be. I'm a big offensive line guy, and there's a guy coming out of Utah this year. He's a right tackle. But Spencer Fano he's the guy that I looked at this year. I'm like, he's the stud of this draft. If you can get yourself Spencer, like you're putting your offensive line in really, really good hands. And I think that's going to be, that's the guy I'm eyeing, like Cowboys fan. I would love to get one of those, like either Utah guy is going to be an amazing addition. I don't think you guys need to look at left tackle. I think you need to look at the other side of the offensive line. And he's that guy right there.
Since Bobby already made a question about top 5 picks, is there a quarterback that you think that will be a good addition for the Dolphins? There's a debate all over the place of who should be the next quarterback of the Dolphins whenever they move for Tua. I think next time we should go for the 6 foot or over, huge hands kind of guy who's mobile, who can go to Buffalo, who can go to New England at the end of the year. Because I love Tua accuracy. I thought that will help us, but at the end of the day, so many teams in the AFC are in cold weather. The Steelers, the Chiefs, the Ravens, everybody in our division. So if you get to the playoffs, you basically have the chance that you're not going to be having home field advantage. So unless you have the best running game in the whole NFL running the ball in December, you need that kind of quarterback that can go and beat the elements. And even Dan Marino, who I love, has some troubles during December and January and the late games and the weathers. He had a huge arm. He was the strongest guy, but you need that kind of guy that is strong enough physically to be that weather and succeed. What are your thoughts? If I'm the general manager of the Dolphins, who would you recommend for me to pick next season if I make it a pick?
Without watching too much of 2025 film of these quarterbacks, because it hasn't truly been released yet, the guy that everyone's going to tell you right now is Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, his dad's in the NFL. His dad's offensive coordinators. He's also the guy at LSU, so he's at a big program. But I agree with you. I just don't see Garrett Nussmeier being the quarterback that everyone expects. Again, I have to throw on that 2025 film, but I saw Garrett struggled within the pocket. When everything was good, he kind of struggled. It's when he was rolling out and moving around, he was really good at. I think you have to be really good in the pocket, and then as you move out, you kind of struggle a little bit, but you can make all the throws, like I mentioned, off platform, things of that nature. The guy that blew me away is going to be right up your alley because it's Drew Aller. He's a big body guy. He has a big arm. He makes plays. He's kind of like I don't think he has Josh Allen speed, obviously, but he's a big body Josh Allen without the speed. So I think he can stand in the pocket, make all the throws. He can move around. He can throw off platform. He does all the things. He struggled a little bit this year, and obviously he's hurt. But he's the guy. And then the dark horse is going to be Lenore Sellers. Seeing what he can do. Yeah, running around. The guy, I'm a Georgia fan, so Carson Beck, I don't like as a quarterback. I think he doesn't protect the ball very well. Makes some boneheaded, like, what were you thinking type throws. So my guy is going to be Drew Aller.
What's the name of the quarterback from Indiana? I think he's 5'6".
Mendoza.
Mendoza. He's from Miami. I think he's 5'6'4". Huge guy. What are your thoughts about him?
I haven't watched him yet. Bobby, you can throw Bobby up in here. Bobby's watched him. Bobby has him as a first round grade. So obviously Bobby's big, and I like everything Bobby throws out there. Bobby's the guy that he dives deep into these players, and then he'll throw a guy out there that's like, oh, he's my favorite player in the draft. And then you watch the guy and you're like, yeah, you fall right into my beliefs, hair on fire type guy. So yeah, if Bobby's throwing a first round grade on him, he must be really good.
We have Daniel saying, I hear a lot of talk about drafting offensive players. Has anyone looked at our defense? Is there any cornerback that you see like that's the kind of cornerback it pops even for so far away from the draft? Is there anyone you see on defense that you can say right now that you like for the Dolphins or anyone right now that
I haven't unfortunately dove too deep into the defensive side.
That's
I need to. I'm a Dallas fan, so I need to dive as deep into that defense as possible. I mean, I need to go head first into it. But I like diving into offensive line heavy. That's what gets me into scouting every year is falling in love with these offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and then I'll hit into like the high target guys like the quarterback, the cornerbacks, the linebackers, all of that. So I'm going to start diving a little bit deeper into these guys here shortly, and definitely let you know.
It makes sense because you I know Eddie watched a lot of that, and you too. But for me, it's kind of easier to evaluate the offense rather than the defense. So it makes a lot of sense that basically evaluating a quarterback probably easier than a defensive back or even a defensive tackle because you have to go through a lot more film and studying to make a decision on that. Eddie, we're almost at the 8-minute mark, so I'm gonna say thank you to our guest, Josh Wingate. Josh, where they can find you on FTSN? We have cooking all over the place. I think you have to podcast, right?
Yep. So haven't really done too much on the Beer and Sports podcast, even though when I do join, I'll drink a beer. But
Cheers.
right now I'm focusing on the clock with Bobby and Coach Vogel. Really have a lot of fun with those guys. As talked about, it's been said in the chat, Bobby doesn't sleep. So having someone with like the same passion as me when it comes to watching players, it kind of motivates all of us. And we kind of have our differences, but we have our we kind of align on how we value players. So it's a really good time. And like I said, we're all passionate about it. So we drive each other. But on the clock, if you haven't tuned into that, I know we're going to start ramping up here soon and getting into these guys, and especially with how, not to talk bad about Dolphins, but how the Dolphins are playing, we might ramp up a little earlier than normal. But You should definitely tune in because Bobby does a really good job of running that show. And like I mentioned, it's fun. But outside of that, I'm on Twitter. While I might not post a lot, if anyone's out there and they have a question about a prospect or anything, they can feel free to shoot me a message, Josh Wingate 302 on Twitter. But yeah, mostly on the clock.
Awesome. We want to thank the over 305 watching all platforms. Eddie, great as always. The Dolphins in a win, Josh. So, I know people are saying that let's go 1-16 because we need high draft pick. I'm not. I just hoping for a win, Eddie. Any last thoughts?
This is every year. Every time Miami's bad, there's like 10 teams that have the same record or a record that's worse than them. So you might as well win because this year, there's 5 teams that are 1-5, one's 0-6. Everybody else is 2 and something. It doesn't matter. Every time Miami's bad, they'll be middle of the pack no matter what.
By the end, we will have a horrible season. The 13th pick in the draft because it's what will happen.
So just win.
Let's just win. Josh, thank you very much. Hopefully, we have by draft season we'll have a show on Fizz TV and you can join us. It will be great for you. You can join us to debate the draft. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. Let me know. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Eddie. And win or lose, as always, at least we have each other.
For now.
Peace out for now. Peace out.
Thanks for watching Fizz TV. Please like and subscribe.
Miami Dolphins #1. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
See you next week. Fins up.